Hi everybody. I have received a number of emails and texts and phone calls about putting together just something very simple about breathing, stillness, the relaxation response. I'm a homebody and an introvert, so this is my library that I'm in, my inner sanctum, so to speak. This is usually where I meditate. I'm okay with being home for now. I know for some of you this is a very stressful request and very difficult. There are a number of different circumstances you could be experiencing at home that make it feel unsafe or feel unsettled. So if there are things that you can do, choices you can make, habits to change, a list of things to do to make those feelings of unsafety and unsettledness get any better, please do those. Take those steps. That's your map. Begin with the things you can do, measurable action steps to make your place seem better. On the inside of yourself, which is something I speak about, I teach about, your inner self, there's ways that you can help calm that place. Right now for you, that place inside may not feel safe. I guarantee underneath everything it is just a matter of getting to that place for some people. So I always say in my classes, meditation is a way of peeling away those layers to get down deep inside. And you have to start with breath. So I'm going to give you just a little bit about abdominal breath that is designed to give you the relaxation response. This is the way we should be breathing anyway. So let this be a lesson that you can take with you for the rest of your life. Abdominal breath. It has changed my life. I'm able to manage all of my mental illnesses. I'm able to manage being a single mother. I'm able to manage all sorts of things about what it means to cope and be a human being right now, especially in Western culture that doesn't regard stillness with any value whatsoever. So it's ironic that we're here. I want to emphasize stillness over silence. For many of us, we don't have silent lives. At any moment, my dog could bark. At any moment, something could happen with my daughter. I live next to a very busy street. You could hear horns or anything like that going on. And so, the biggest principle of mindfulness is to accept things as they are without judgment. So let's put that space on right now, that feeling. We accept whatever it is without judgment. We accept reality as it is without judgment. So here we are. So for beginners, I recommend seating, being in a seated position first to begin learning how to breathe abdominally. Lying down's okay, but I want you to get accustomed to that feeling of inhale belly out, exhale belly in, and the best way to do that is to sit. So I don't know how well, or I don't know how much I want you to see my belly necessarily, but you want to sit up straight with your feet flat on the floor. And just to begin this idea of posture, curl the tailbone underneath, curling it under, getting a hollow sense in the core, even though it's slightly activated with that curled tailbone. You want to keep a straight lumbar spine, straight thoracic spine. Give a little lift in the sternum, don't create too much of an arch in the back. And then take the shoulders down, and then the shoulder blades connect at the spine. In assuming the meditative posture, usually you want your hands on top of your thighs with the elbows glued to the rib cage, creating a nice little frame here to sit with. You really want the shoulder girdle to take that weight of the arms dangling downward. At the very beginning, to learn to set up breath, take one hand to the chest, one hand to the belly. I do this in all my classes every time. This is how we start. Exhale everything completely all the way out. So everything leaves the body from the lower lungs all the way up until you can't take it anymore. You might have to cough. Get rid of everything. Still push it out. And then inhale belly out. Exhale belly in. Inhale belly out. Exhale belly in. So if you notice my shoulders are not moving, my chest is not moving, just my belly. I think my sweatshirt's making you think that my chest is moving, but it's not. There we go. So about 5 breaths in like this, you should start to feel calmer, start to feel a little bit more relaxed. So I'm going to explain what's happening in the body a little bit. In fight or flight, that serious adrenaline rush, that chain reaction in the body of cortisol, high heart rate, fear, that rigid feeling that goes through the body. Well, this is not that. It's the actual opposite of that. It's the relaxation response. And just like fight or flight, a chain reaction is built through the body from one action to another. And that first action is the diaphragm descending toward the small intestines. So the way you do that is to inhale belly out, and that pushes the diaphragm downward. Once the diaphragm descends and pushes downward, it's connected in the back at the spine to the vagus nerve. So when it descends, it tugs a little, and that's like plucking a guitar string and sending a message all the way to the brain that says, let's relax. So once you start that, a whole chain reaction, chemistry shifts, and the body starts to realize, hey, we're gonna chill out for a second. So 3 deep abdominal breaths will begin that in the body. You'll feel a difference. 10 or more breaths like that, you might feel a big difference because you're getting more oxygen to the brain. Just a little bit about shallow breath versus abdominal breath. Abdominal breath is what we're born with. If you watch a baby breathe, it's with abdominal breath. And we lose that ability as we age. Some think it happens when we learn how to walk. We introduce tension into the body. Shallow breath is how most Westerners, and I would say, yes, mostly Americans, breathe. We're very stressed, very fast, very impatient. And so we kind of trap all of our breath up here in the upper lungs. The other times that we breathe shallowly that are natural are during grief, depression, winter, tremendous sadness, divorce, trauma. That's shallow breathing. And so for many of us who aren't in those states, our culture will actually just have us breathe shallowly. And so if we were raised by a shallow breather, we're probably going to be a shallow breather. But what that does is that tells the mind we're depressed, we're grief-stricken, even if we might not be. I always tell people, if you are experiencing true grief and chronic clinical depression, then be with those things. I would never advise anyone to fast forward or jump over or tell them that they're wrong about something that they're feeling. But if you feel that you've engaged in habitual ways of breathing or habitual ways of grief or habitual ways of being sad about things, it might be the time to kind of get into that inner work and let that breath descend a little bit lower. And that alone can sometimes alleviate those symptoms. I am not a doctor. I would never tell anybody with anxiety or depression that breathing alone will cure their symptoms. That's not appropriate, nor is it true. So if you're on medication, do not stop taking your medication. Stay with it, but do learn how to breathe properly. Let's take some time and just do maybe 10 breaths together. I recommend as you journey in this beginning part of learning to cultivate, inner journey work or inner stillness, that you take 3 times a day, 10 breaths. And that might be a lot. That might, now you have a breathing schedule. Holy cow, you never thought you'd be one of those people. But it really does help, and it will help your chemistry as well, given, keeping the heart rate down, keeping yourself calm. This will help during this time of being inside. Again, assuming that good posture, the spine is straight, sternum is lifted to the sky, and shoulders descend away. And get the shoulder blades to try and kiss at the back a little bit. This might feel strange in itself, and it will be difficult to hold this for some of you that aren't used to sitting this way. But let's just try for 10 breaths, okay? So close your eyes, come to center, and get deep down in. I know that for some of you, this isn't a place where you're at all the time. Going in, it may feel completely foreign, but just take the time to descend into breath at least. And maybe it might be helpful to create a visual inside of your head, thinking about those lungs and how they're working. For some of you, it might be that you want to escape to a beach, Or perhaps you're taking on this challenge to sit in your home and be okay with it. So let's start by exhaling everything completely. Inhale, belly out. Exhale, belly in. Inhale, belly out. Exhale, belly in. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Check back again in with your posture. Make sure your chest has not sunk yet. Keep it lifted, shoulders down. Keep the breath. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more to go. Inhale. Exhale. Good. How did that feel? So already you might be experiencing more relaxation, more mental clarity. Your brain is getting more oxygen, certainly. By filling up the lower lungs, you are increasing your lung capacity from a shallow breath. So it's important that we use our bodies the way they were intended, which is this full capacity breathing and the intention of the abdominal breath to keep the body calm. I know that for a lot of us, the idea of responding rather than reacting can seem very foreign, and for many of us that have trauma or situations in which we are left to only be impulsive, reaction is our only method. But for those of us that might have the space to be able to respond rather than react, let's take that opportunity. And when we experience stress, breathe. This, what some people might call crisis, or this upending of normal life, does not have to be a disruption. It can be a way of the things we've always needed to work on, being the opportunity for that, the openness for that, the space for that. I hope that we can not look at this as a negative time, but look at this as a place of possibility and a place of openness and exploration. I know that for me, in my situation, my mental health crises, being a single parent with no help, being in these places of what someone might call elevated stress, it's just given me the opportunity to get deeper. And I want to stress that I had medical intervention. I had help, so I did reach out. I didn't learn this all by myself. I did a lot of study, and I took a lot of time to be able to sit calmly today in front of you like this. So it takes work. It takes time. Be patient with yourself. Be kind to yourself. Just take a moment to breathe. We will all get through this. Everything is temporary. The Buddha's last words, all things must pass. So it will pass. It will pass over us and through us in many different ways. Your breath is right there at all times for you. And it's a choice to take a shallow breath or a deeper breath. So just remember to keep bringing it downward, deeper in. If right now going inside doesn't feel safe to you, then just take some moments of mindfulness, just being in a space and being still, observing what's around you without judgment, staying in the moment, noticing the colors, the angles, the textures around you, the sounds. Get into your senses a little bit. Just observe what's happening. That can be just as calming. There isn't one method out there. Hopefully today I've given you some information about abdominal breath that can help you. 3 times a day, 10 breaths, and you'll be just primed for the good beginning work of the cultivation of the relationship with the inner self. Thank you so much, and I'll keep making more of these specifically for different things and perhaps a guided meditation. Thank you so much, and thank you everybody for your support. You've been so kind, everyone reaching out, trying to keep me employed. That's very nice of you. Hopefully this is one way I can give something to you. Thank you so much, and enjoy breathing.